Hello, everybody, and welcome to this episode of Talking Business with Chad and Mike. We are here live on LinkedIn and on YouTube. Welcome today, and we have our guest, Vance Morris, with us. Michael, introduce Vance to our audience today.
Well, thank you, Chad. It's my pleasure to introduce you, Vance. I met Vance in an H7 networking group, I guess a number of months ago, and I was fascinated with your business model. And I knew that our audience and viewers of listeners would want to hear your story and learn more about your businesses. So, Vance, just for the audience, Vance has spent 10 years as a senior leader at Walt Disney World, 10 years in hospitality, and another 17 years owning three home service businesses. Since 2013, he's been helping small businesses and entrepreneurs become businesses delivering extraordinary experiences and commanding premium prices. We're going to talk more about that. And he's developed the Deliver Service Now Institute, DSNI, and the Experience Service System, and has helped over 1,000 businesses to date. I'm sure we'll all want to hear more about his journey and what we can learn from his experiences, and particularly about the DSNI and the Experience Service System. So everybody, let's begin. Vance, nice to meet you and see you again.
Good to see you. And the crowd goes wild.
Oh, here they are. I love it.
And just a quick note to everybody out there watching. I'm in Chicago. Vance is in the Baltimore area, right? You're in Maryland.
Maryland, yeah, Eastern Shore.
And Mike's in New York City. And this is a really great example of expanding your network and meeting people. We're all in the H7 networking group that Mike mentioned, and really reach out, meet people, connect with us. There'll be information in the show notes how you can do that. But everybody complains about it kind of as a side effect from the pandemic, but it can be a real strength in a way to connect with people and meet each other. So I'm going to kick this off with an icebreaker question for you, Vance, and you're going to have an option. Now, it's going to be Disney related. Can't help that. Would you like it to be about food or about a ride?
Oh, wow. Well, I'm a foodie, so let's go food.
Okay, this may disappoint you. It's not that highbrow.
Oh.
If you had to eat a dessert 3 times a day for a month, would you pick a churro, a Mickey head ice cream, or Dole Whip?
Dole Whip, because at least it's got some redeeming nutritional value to it.
I don't even know what Dole Whip is. What is that?
Dole Whip is
Dole Whip. They might not know what Dole Whip is, Vance.
Oh, Dole Whips are the pineapple or orange, kind of a frosty, whipped up. There's only one place it's in the Magic Kingdom that you can get it. Supposedly it has real juice in it, yeah, I've gone an entire day on one Dole Whip, so it is possible.
Yeah, it's kind of like a smoothie, but not as thick, I guess.
Yeah,
I don't know.
It's like a little bit more fruity thing, and like a little cream in it, but
yeah, like if you let an orange icicle melt in a cup, maybe that would kind of be it.
Maybe,
but yeah, if you go to Magic Kingdom, that's near Pirates of the Caribbean.
Yep.
At least it used to be. You can try it
Still
out there. And Disney,
So,
you have to check for the endorsement.
Well, I guess an interesting icebreaker. But
so you want to kick us off with a question there, Mike?
Well, yeah, I figured we started talking about Disney, so start talking about Disney, Vance. Tell us about and we'll go.
Yeah, I mean, it was I'm happy that it was my first real work experience. I'd worked for a restaurant for a couple of years after graduating college and before I went down to Disney. So it really set in place what I was going to do really for the rest of my business career, as far as some really strong entrepreneurial ideas and some really strong operations idea. Of course, everybody always likes to talk about customer service and experience and all that stuff. But really, one of the big things that I learned at Disney is there's two real big points I want to make. Is one is the fanatical attention to detail that Disney has for everything. And, and you ask yourself, what details are in your business that are, that you will never compromise on. And I like to ask my audiences this question when I do speaking is, if you knew of one detail that was going to completely enable all of your customers to come back again and again and again and really contribute to your bottom line, how much more would you be willing to spend on it? Because we often overlook the smallest of details, and we really can't, because we're all detail businesses. I mean, I've gone to an orthodontist office and they got dusty houseplants. I'm like, well, geez, what are the tools that he's using? Are they dusty? I mean, they correlate. I was at Disney a couple of months ago, and I sit there and I'll watch, and there was the horticulture guy was literally trimming the hedges with a pair of scissors. And not 10 minutes later, the horticultural manager comes by with his own pair of scissors and is following up. I mean, it's just, they know the environment that they're trying to create. And then the other one is systems. Disney runs on systems, because if they didn't, the whole darn thing would crash and burn to the ground. And they have to be simple systems. Because if you look at, and we're not talking Disney, the global company, and animation, we're talking theme parks and resorts. If you look at who runs these things, a lot of the people that run the rides are, teenagers. The last thing they're thinking about is, how the ride works. I mean, so they have to make it as simple as possible, push the button, and the ride goes off. And Disney does that with everything. I mean, we ran on 3 words. All of Disney, when I was there, and I think still today, runs on 3 words: what to do, how to do it, and the most important part, which most business owners forget, is why do we do it that way? Because if you want to have engaged employees, people that really understand and will do what you ask them, they got to have the why. Why do we answer the phone that way? Well, because it separates us from all the other business owners out there. It's memorable, and it sifts, sorts, and screens out people that we might not want as a client. Once they understand the why, employees become a lot more engaged. It's not just I told you so.
You touched on something there, Vance, that I've always found very interesting. I think a lot of people overlook, and I'd like to expand on it just a little bit. It's the sorting out or the deselecting, prospects. Because a lot of business people, especially entrepreneurs, especially new ones, it's the shotgunnist approach. It's I serve everybody. Just share a little bit more on your thoughts on that portion of working people or working with prospects.
Sure. So from a hiring perspective,
or from getting customers' perspective.
Oh, getting customer perspective. Sure. I mean, you can't be for everybody, because if you are for everybody, you're really for nobody. And Disney understands that. I've found multiple coaches and mentors that, they, for lack of a better word, there's riches and niches. And if you can niche into a particular market, so now Disney's is very broad, but they are getting closer and closer to a more affluent guest because of price increases. And it's for a reason. People say, oh, average person can't afford Disney anymore. Well, okay. Because what they're really trying to do is get less people in the park. People are always saying, oh my God, Disney's been empty since the pandemic. No, Disney is where they want to be, because they want the people in the park to have a great experience. So if they have a few less people and the wait for the ride is 2 hours versus 3 hours, well, now they're going to have a better experience. And I do the same thing with my clients. I was on a call earlier today, and we were talking about, being able to niche within your industry. And so we look at what separates one dentist from another. So, there's only a couple of ways to clean teeth, right? I mean, it's, they get the thing in their mouth or they get the hose and they spray it in there and get the stuff off. So what separates one dentist from another in the same building, maybe even on the same floor, is the experience they provide. So I have a client who is a pediatric dentist. Love the movie Peter Pan. So she has created Neverland in her office. It's all designed just for kids. There's a big, shipwreck in the middle of the waiting room that kind of doubles as a jungle gym or a play thing. They don't say jungle gym anymore. Playhouse, little slide on it. All of the cleaning technicians are dressed like Mr. Smee. They walk around saying "arg," and the orthodontist, the doctor, is dressed like Captain Hook. She doesn't charge. She doesn't take insurance. It's all private pay, and she's got a wait list. I mean, people have to get above the age of 16 and move on to a real dentist before she'll take a new client in because she doesn't have any room for them.
So I was thinking as you were talking, when you started working for Disney, what was in your head? Were you already thinking about the future, or when did that happen? Because see, the key here is, I want the audience to kind of understand your entrepreneurial journey. When did it start? Because often enough, we know certainly Chad knows when he started. I know when I started. You certainly I'd love to hear you tell the audience, when did it start?
Sure. I certainly at Disney, I had nary a entrepreneurial bone in my body. I take that back. I mean, when I was a kid, I went out and I got my lawn mowing jobs and I got my paper routes, and mom didn't help me. So in that sense, I think I was always looking for myself. It was really towards the end. So I was on the design and operations team for a couple of really big food projects at Disney. And that was amazing because it was so entrepreneurial. I mean, they gave us a blank slate and said, here's the parameters. You got 400 seats and you got 43 minutes to get Mickey Mouse through 400 seats at your restaurant, and you need to make it a great experience. That was the extent of our marching orders. Go figure it out, Vance, and make it happen. I was like, dang, this is cool. So after we built it and I ran it for a couple of years, well, now it's time to systemize the thing and run it the same every day. And that was not for me by any stretch, because I get bored. And I think a lot of entrepreneurs, if they are in a job, they get bored with it because, well, now it is just day in, day out stuff. So I left Disney, probably, I was starting to have that inkling, like I should probably do something on my own, but okay, not quite yet. So I had a restaurant company up in Boston recruit me to come and help them. They had a great product, okay service, okay experience. Worked for them for 18 months. Got recruited by a retirement community of all things. And myself and another guy from Disneyland, California, our mission was to unhospitalize retirement community food service. So essentially turn it into a resort. And we were successful in that. And again, well, we had to systemize it. I'm like, that ain't for me. So I went and did corporate food service. And this was, I am not a corporate guy by any stretch. I realized I don't like to be told what to do. So I make a lousy employee. And it was during the retirement community, definitely through my entire 5 years. When I was actually director of food service for the Smithsonian Museums in DC, and which gave me a lot of flexibility, but it was still a corporate environment. And I'll never forget one of the reasons I got fired from that job. And one of the reasons they brought up, so I was very entrepreneurial at this time, is we had Ronald Reagan's funeral, and the procession had to pass by on Constitution Avenue, right in front of the museums. And usually they have all those chuck wagons out there selling, you know, the really bad hot dogs and everything. And they got them all off the streets so that they could have the procession. Well, I said, well, might as well make a buck out of this because nobody's coming into the museum. Everybody's out there to watch Reagan go by. So I started selling water and jelly beans on museum property, right on Constitution. I figured that was perfect. You know, Reagan, jelly beans, it's a hot day. We need water. Great. Boy, you thought I would have, I killed him is what you would have thought. How dare you, you know, belittle the procession by selling? And I'm just like, oh, forget it. So after that, I said, you know what? No more. I'm going to start my own business. At the time, I was going to get into restaurants. Because that's all I'd really done was food service. However, I didn't have $1 million liquid cash, which was what most restaurant franchises wanted you to have. So I did what every small child dreams of doing when they grow up, and I started a carpet cleaning business.
So now let me ask you, let's stop there for a second. You said something interesting. Well, you're going to start your own business after that. Now, you immediately started thinking of franchise. Why franchise?
For the sole purpose that they already have a proof of concept. They already have, you know, an idea that, you know, here's the menu, here's the, you know, I was looking for a Five Guys. I don't know if you guys have been to a Five Guys hamburger place, but I fell in love with, because I had the original one was where I worked down in Virginia. Fell in love with it. And but they wanted too much money, so I would have jumped on that in a heartbeat. But yeah, I was looking for something because I didn't really know how to do business on my own. So I mean, I was certainly an HR nightmare on my own. So I probably needed a little guidance, and I did. I started a franchise carpet cleaning business.
Why carpet cleaning?
I'm sorry.
Why carpet cleaning?
Why carpet cleaning? You know, I asked myself that a lot. I mean, I barely vacuumed when, you know, I started this business. And I was really looking for something. And this goes back to my mindset of premium service for premium prices, which is what Disney is all about. And I'm like, okay, what can I start that I can financially get into, that does not have a premium service. So the area of Maryland I live in we're like where DC goes on vacation is where they all have their second homes here, which are $2 to $5 million waterfront properties. And there was no premium service in the cleaning world there. So I said, all right, let's give this a try. I mean, I looked at other stuff. I looked like dry cleaning businesses, fruit smoothie businesses. I mean, everything. But again, this company kept popping up because they had a great product, a product that I could look anybody in the eye and say, yeah, this stuff works. What they didn't have was the service piece. I mean, you know, carpet cleaners are not looked at in the highest regards. You know, 2020 has done an expose on us. You know, we steal the money from the cushions in your sofa and drink the milk out of the container in the fridge and then put it back. It's not pretty.
So over the years that you've been doing this, Vance, what is something that you have seen as an evolution or a change, like say over the past 4 or 5 years, or maybe pre-pandemic to today, that sticks in your mind?
The bar for serving customers, guests, patients, whatever you call them, is getting lower and lower and lower. If you want to stand out in your industry, answer your phone live. I mean, I'm partners in a call center, and we called 4,000 home service businesses, and we got their phone number from Google pay-per-click. So they are paying Google to advertise their phone number. 17% answered the phone live. People pay. That's all money flushed down the toilet. They don't answer the phone. So if you're in business yourself and you're thinking, okay, what do I do to separate myself? It's not like you have to create this elaborate theme park or an attraction or a roller coaster. It's the simple stuff. Answer the phone. I mean, that really the base. Email, answer the email. You know, I mean, I wish I had something sexy to say here, but it's really the basics to get people. So yeah, the bar for serving people has never been lower.
So why do you think?
It's
Why?
really interesting the simple things you mentioned, because I actually have a client where one of the things I've had to work with their staff on is literally answering the phone. It's like the younger generation, they don't get a text, they don't get an email saying I'm calling you. It's like that's kryptonite.
Yeah.
Versus answer it.
Okay, but that's, yeah. I mean, maybe generational in a sense, but look, you reached out to 4,000 home businesses. Not all of them are millennials or Gen Z and Gen X's. Why do you think people aren't answering their phones? Why do you think they're not answering their emails? Why?
I think a lot is a scarcity mindset. They feel that they can't afford to do it. So, I mean, obviously, we were calling to make a point that you need an answering service or a call center, because if you're an owner operator or solopreneur, I mean, let's say you're a plumber and you're it, and you don't have anybody answer the phone in your office. Well, if you're on a job and you got your hand down the toilet drain and your phone rings, you've got a choice to make. Do you stop working? And Mrs. Smith is looking over your shoulder while you got your hand in the toilet. Do you stop working and make her upset to answer the phone? Or do you take the chance and let the phone call go to voicemail and hope to God they haven't called another plumber by the time you get a chance to return that call?
So now, Vance, what do you think now about the possibilities of AI basically helping through this situation? Have you
100%? I mean, there are some very hack ways to do it, but there are some real good systems out there, especially if you're online and you're trying to, if it's something simple like I just want to schedule a carpet cleaning. Yeah, great. Go with a chat bot, get that stuff done. But I still think that there is the businesses that are going to succeed are the ones that are answering the phone with a real live human being. You can't replace that. And whether you go with somebody from your hometown or you outsource it to the Philippines, nothing will replace a live person. Now, don't get me wrong. I think that Dell and some of these guys, oops, am I allowed to say that? They've got really crappy phone service because they outsource it to a country that doesn't, English is not even remotely close. And that the lady is not named Sue, because there's no way they named her Sue and wherever she's from. Anyway.
Well, I think another element of that too is there's been an increasing focus on the technical aspect of work without as much attention to the professional or the other supportive skills. Whether it's the technocrat, the people, the rising in the technical skills, and not really paying attention to the customer service skills, the retention skills, what keeps them coming back. Like you said, the bar just gets lower and lower. And, it does become more of a premium thing that people want attention for, where they go and stay in a hotel or, does somewhere, know your name. Do they have your stuff ready? Or you just like another barcode that walked in?
Right. And you have to pay for that level of service. And that's where people, again, they have that scarcity mindset that, well, wait a minute, what if I raised my prices and I could have somebody live answer the phone? Ooh, what if I raise my prices a little more and I could guarantee that I will be on site, within an hour, of whatever time I say. There's a plumbing company, Ben Franklin Plumbing. They are the on-time plumber. That's their guarantee. If we are not on time, the initial inspection fee is waived. So but their pricing is a lot different than many other plumbers because they've got that built in case they have to pay out. But it's still, oh my, you mean the plumber's on time? I mean, how many of us sit around waiting for Verizon from between 8 and 5? They'll be there, and they'll be there Monday. Oh, wait, but they didn't tell you which Monday they were coming. It's like.
So let's move to your experience service system.
Sure.
Let's talk.
Oh, no, I didn't hear the question. Was there a question? I didn't hear it. I'm sorry.
No, the question is, let's talk about, or the statement is, let's talk about the experience service system. Because we've been talking about the basics, right? So let's talk about that system, the experience service system. What is that?
Sure. So it is, it's 4 pieces, and it is designed for, the first 3 are for the customer life cycle or the customer journey. So it starts with customer attraction. How do you get a new customer? I am a firm believer in attracting customers rather than chasing them. Nobody likes to be chased. Just ask the cave woman who was getting chased by the caveman with the big stick. She didn't like it then, and people don't like it now. So I use strategies that are all about how do we attract people to what we do. Step 2 is the actual experience. Okay, great. How do we serve the customer? What do we do with them once we've got them? Yes, we know we either need to feed them a meal, give them a bed to sleep in, fix their pipes, whatever it is. But what is the strategy? What is the experience around it that we provide that is going to separate us from everybody else that does what we do? If a plumber comes into your home, one of the simplest things they could do to separate themselves is just put little booties on before they come in the house. Again, it's a simple thing. I would say 10% of plumbers do it. Why don't the other 90? I don't know. They think they can't afford it. They think it doesn't matter, whatever. So we go through the entire customer journey. And then the piece that people always seem to forget, and this is the argument I have with a lot of lead generation people, is that they keep thinking they need new and more customers. And the reality of it is that getting a new customer is extremely expensive. Probably one of the most expensive things you can do in your business. But to keep a customer is relatively inexpensive. So and this is where you need to know your numbers. So like in my carpet cleaning business, I know it costs me $78 to get 1 new customer in the door. Now that doesn't leave, if my minimum charge is $99, that doesn't leave a whole heck of a lot of money to play with, which my minimum is well above it. But it only costs me $16 a year to keep the customer. So right now our return customers are right around 85%. So I'm only adding 15% new customers a year to my business. And we're doing great because the profitability, every time they call back, you don't have to pay that $78 to get a new one. Yeah. So it's the customer getting, customer serving, customer keeping. And then the last portion of the experience system is scaling. How do you scale the business? How do you, if you want to, how do you take what you're doing and put in the systems and processes that will allow you to scale it so that, maybe they want to be like me. I still have the 3 home service businesses. I have a general manager in charge that runs them. I'll go down once a week, collect the checks, kiss a couple of babies, and I'm done with it. It just runs because I've put in those systems and processes, which allows me to do what we're doing today. And so we have the strategies for how to scale your business and make it happen.
Very cool. Well, we're going to go ahead and wrap up. We're at the end of our time together here today. But if someone wants to learn more about what you're doing, Vance, the 4 steps, ways that this could benefit them, as business people, maybe as potential business people, what do you recommend? What's a good way for them to learn more and to contact you?
Sure. Well, I would recommend you go to my website, deliverservicenow.com. And up at the top right is a little button that says free book. So I've written a book called Systematic Magic, which is 7 magic keys to Disneyfy your business. And you can download it for free immediately. You get a nice PDF of it. And it has more strategies. I mean, it'll keep you busy for a while. And really they are actionable things. So it's not just theory, but here's some things that I've done, some things you can adapt into your business. So, I mean, you can go on Amazon and get the book. And if you want to give Bezos some more money, knock your socks off, that'd be great. But if you want it for free, come to me, deliverservicenow.com.
Cool. Mike, any closing comments?
Yeah, I mean, I've got a few. I think you don't know quite where to start, but I like when you talked about what made you start your own business, and I got a kick out of your being fired because you were entrepreneurial, and I can relate to that because I've had the same similar experience in my history as an entrepreneur and a business person. I think I've never really, me personally, have never focused on the franchise perspective, but I think that I'm learning a great deal about it, and I think it actually can be extremely attractive for entrepreneurs who want to get into business but don't quite know how to do it because they don't really have the systems and processes. I think that that's really key. Michael Gerber, who wrote the E-Myth Revisited, he basically said you don't have a business unless you have systems and processes. And so if it's already built in, it's a great model to emulate. And I particularly got a kick out of the fact that you're at a point now where those carpet businesses and those other franchise businesses you have are being run by other people because you have systems and processes, which is letting you go on and train people in your business, the DNSI Institute and your system. So really impressed. I think the audience will find this very interesting. We'll obviously post, as Chad said, your website and such. And I'll be one of the first people that goes in and gets that free book.
Absolutely. Yeah, I mean, heck, it's knowledge that Vance is offering. So by all means, everyone go and check that out. And Michael, thanks for those comments. Vance, it's been great talking with you today. Thank you for joining us here on Talking Business with Chad and Mike. Everyone out there in LinkedIn and YouTube land, thank you for joining. Or if you're watching this on a replay, be sure to check out the show notes for those links. Everybody have a good day.
Take care, everybody.